The light of truth has been refracted. Pardon me, I guess you've been distracted. I assumed you didn't see, or else you would have acted. Now all your concerns and dying words will be
redacted.
They snuck the censors in behind your mileage taxes. It's new school tactics put into action by an old school fascist who they portray iconoclastic. So keep the Black Lives Matter off your Twitter banner if you proudly voted for a man who's been a Jim Crow bigot since the end of the Jurassic. Joe wrote all the classics. Joe designed a crime bill with 80-something reasons you deserve a fate that's just the side of gassing. He wrote the book on lechery and passing. Half his works were plagiary, the other half inspired by the Klan's grandmasters. Joe's in bed with all those ancient racist bastards. He's been their golden boy since Thurman walked the earth, and we'll be feeling all the worst of his disasters for fucking centuries beyond the day he finally does the decent thing and fucks fully off to the hereafter. And I hope I've been wrong about religion all along, and the fate awaiting Biden smells of strong sulfuric acid. But knowing Biden, hell may prove to be the more impacted. Betcha this will be the one that gets
redacted.
The window's closing as you try to let some light in, fighting for
redacted.
And the enemy is silence. Every man's a garbage patch, no man is an island, and there's never been a bigger piece of shit than Joe.
Redacted.
I'm so laid back. Got a cock that's a block, but my skin's not black.
My dong is hard, long and veiny. I'll shoot you in the face like I'm Dick Cheney.
I'm cool, not a fool, stay sweet like Kool-Aid. Kick your ass to the grass, then you need a band-aid. I'm the bomb with your mom, what you want to get laid. Then skeet skeet to the Little Mermaid. Yeah, boy, roast beef, 2000.
What is this for?
Roast beef.
Y'all ready for this?
What? Now, just in case you haven't heard, we're the illest MCs to spit the word
From my MIC. All the players and the pimps love TRB.
Don't mess with me, cause you know that I'm a badass mother like Aunt Jemima. I own the stage, don't act my age. On the list of best rappers on my top of the page.
Roast beefs, don't you know we're the head of the class? Bitch, give us a test, no doubt we'll pass.
Bitch, drink Cristal, smoke some grass.
Bitch, fuck with the beefs, we'll kick your ass.
Try to stop the beefs, but you can't fight us.
Bitch,
Crush your bones like you got arthritis.
Bitch.
Turn records gold like I'm King Midas.
Bitch.
My rhymes are sick like they got hepatitis.
Bitch.
Keep some back, go tell your mom. We were hiding like Saddam, but now we're here and still the bomb. The roast beef's got it going on. Roast beef's up back, go tell your mom. We were hiding like Saddam, but now we're here and still the bomb. The roast beef's got it going on.
Now, Mr. Armstrong, what's your deal? If I reached in your shorts, what would I feel? Like a bicycle with just one wheel. You got one ball like Lucille.
Scarlett Johansson,
Come on, Electra.
Jessica Simpson, I wanna sex you.
come on over, start relaxing.
We'll have a sleepover like Michael Jackson.
Shake your ass and get me harder. I'm the engine and you're the starter.
If you want it in the ass, girl, get some lube. Cause my dick is harder than a Rubik's Cube.
It's B.O.B. on the MIC. I'm the illest rapper you ever did see. But I'm just one of the three. Known worldwide as TRB. Roast beefs up back, go tell your mom. We were hiding like Saddam, but now we're here and still the bomb. The roast beef's got it going on. Roast beefs up back, go tell your mom. We were hiding like Saddam, but now we're here and still the bomb. The roast beef's got it going on.
In the immediate aftermath of 9/11, we did some things that were wrong. We did a whole lot of things that were right.
We've taken control of the oil in the Middle East, the oil that we're talking about.
Talking about the significance of the passage of time, right? The significance of the passage of time. So when you think about it, there is great significance to the passage of time in terms of what we need to do to lay these wires, what we need to do to create.
We choose truth over facts.
America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. The foothills of the Himalayas.
Television is what people are saying.
We are fighting Satan himself.
Journalists, ask them the questions! Ask them! Ask them! Ask them!
Agreed that everybody once stay inside they should. Anyway, my time's up. I'm sorry. America's dead.
Who are these people?
We're back, folks.
What's
The
going
rat
on, everybody?
defeated. That's right.
Yeah, he's finally gotten the lower rat situation under
We're
control.
calling it a crash. It's a crash.
Yeah, it's a crash. So it's a combination of crabs and rash.
It's a
So
rare
think of like Star Trek, or sorry, StarCraft. So like you got the Zerg creep, right? That's the rash, and then like the crabs are like springing from the Zerg creep. Basically, the entire lower half of Greg right now it basically looks like a Mass Effect storyline.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it doesn't look great. It definitely doesn't look great. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
But we're back for the round. Couldn't do this yesterday. America is indeed dead.
America's dead.
Yeah. It is a rare form. You know what? Here's a fun fact. So South Park wasn't wrong about super AIDS. Did you know like two different strands of AIDS? Like, so if you have sex with someone who has a different strain of like, if you have AIDS and you have sex with someone with a different strain of AIDS, the AIDS combine and they become like an uncurable form of like an untreatable form of AIDS that is like really bad.
Oh, I see. You're one of these people that believes in germ theory. Okay.
No, that's a real thing. Isn't it? The super AIDS is a real thing. Look up super AIDS. They call it super AIDS. It's something retarded, like mega AIDS.
I'd say something more, but
it has AIDS.
It would be honest with you. But yeah. Hey everybody, how's it going? Happy Fred Durst Friday to all those who celebrate.
Wait, I'm allergic to penicillin. Don't give me that.
That's why he's in this mess.
I'm actually only allergic to penicillin.
That's why he's in this predicament.
Yeah.
Anyway, happy Friday, everybody. Can I get a fuck Israel in the chat, please?
Let's get fuck Israel's in the chat. Fuck Israel till I
fuck
die.
Israel.
Fuck Israel to my last breath. That's right. Because now, this week was something different. I'm sure like everyone's been hearing about the new, brand new shiny technology that's Israel's breaking out here. This is BBC covering it.
Hell yeah.
Our reporter Simon Jones has more.
A funeral.
This is a funeral. This is a funeral, guys.
Jesus. This isn't World of Warcraft.
In southern Lebanon is about to be interrupted. An explosion injuring a Hezbollah soldier, causing panic and fear. In Beirut, another blast caused by a walkie-talkie, a new form of technological warfare. Scene 2 at...
You know this is Pandora's box, right? You know you don't you can't come back from this. Once that's why everyone should be screaming on the top of their lungs about how bad this is. This should be condemned so badly because allowing cyber warfare with impunity. I mean, I guess it's inevitable at this point, right?
Well, people just need to understand.
This is a new form of warfare that no one has ever seen before in history. Do we understand that?
This is all connected to. All of this, this right here, what they're testing out, because I personally think they're testing it out.
It's testing, yeah. I think they are testing it, yeah.
This combined with digital ID, combined with central digital currency, guys, your hair looks good, Snow. Okay, I'm gonna put that up because that's a comment that makes me look good. Great. Okay, this is all connected. All of it. The ruling class, the capitalist apparatus is building a digital prison for all of us, and this is absolutely one part of that. Yeah, but I mean a digital prison that can just delete you if maybe I'll shitpost on Twitter and then my kidney's gone because my phone exploded.
Yeah,
right?
No, well, I'm going to show you how this is. I think this is more than just, manipulating a couple walkie-talkies through European shell companies. But we'll finish.
At this mobile phone shop in the city of Sidon, where several devices went off. Communication weaponized. On Tuesday, it was pagers used by Hezbollah that were exploding. Old school technology that the group turned to recently because it feared its mobile phones could be tracked. But it's thought the supply of pagers was intercepted and tiny amounts of high explosive hidden inside. Among the dead were 2 children.
Our reporter Simon Jones has more.
And these fuckers are laughing about it. That's what disgusts me. These fucking IDF shills like Michael Rapapis or whatever the fuck. He's like beep beep. Hey. They're laughing about children getting blown up. That is the level of fascism, everybody, we are at right now. We are at the level of fascism where there is laughter about children fucking dying. And it's been going on for a little bit now. We're at the level of fascism where people can just drop the hard R on Fox News. That's the level of fascism we're at. Eating the pets. It's all connected, folks. They're trying to get they're trying to min-max the reactionary stage.
Yeah, they don't want you thinking about anything. But so to be absolutely clear, to say that the United States was not involved, to say that the United States was not aware, that it's a complete lie. You can't tell me so that it just happens to be a coincidence that this American university switched these their paging system just like a couple weeks ago.
Okay, let's think about this logically. When it's confirmed that pretty much every member of the Senate has a fucking APAC babysitter, how are they not aware? Like, come on.
No, we're the Mossad and the CIA they're literally cooperating all the time.
Of course.
Hey, Lucy's here. I haven't seen Lucy.
Oh shit, Lucy's here? What is going on, Luce?
Blue Moon, red wine. But listen to Count Smircula. I'm never calling him by his real name. Count Smircula. Dodge this position.
He is just a really gross human.
He's just like a rat. He's a rat.
There have been a series of deaths and injuries apparently from exploding pagers. Was the U.S. have any knowledge? What does it know now, and when did it know about what is happening?
So we are gathering information on this incident. I can tell you that the U.S. was not involved in it. The U.S. was not aware of this incident in advance.
Thank you for
your
feedback.
We're gathering information.
And what information have you gathered so far?
We'll continue to collect information. I don't have any public readout to give now, but we're collecting information in the same way that journalists are across the world.
Is the smirk a psyop?
What might have happened?
Obviously, it doesn't.
It's too deliberate.
It is a deliberate kind of evil, isn't it?
He's literally like smirking.
I'm going to show you another video.
He either has some kind of like weird Tourette's going on, or he's doing this deliberately.
The law is.
There's no way this is correct.
To doubt that it would be Israel that was behind the.
I don't have any assessment to offer one way or other at this point.
And I know you're saying that, but in terms of what this means, I mean, there's been for a number of weeks the talk of dialing down, or at least not having a retaliation from Iran over, sort of a tit for tat, if you will. How does this play into it? Is there any message
he said
Israel in terms of what to do
That's
next?
Great.
To Iran, to Hezbollah, in terms of how to respond to this?
So I never want to either comment or speculate about the impact of any one incident, especially in the early stages of an incident. And I'm not going to do so here. That's been our consistent policy to try and avoid doing. I will say that our overall policy remains consistent, which is we do want to see a diplomatic resolution to the conflict between Israel and Hezbollah. We want to see one that allows the tens of thousands of Israelis who've been displaced from their homes and the tens of thousands of Lebanese who have been displaced from their homes to be able to return home. And that's what we are continuing to pursue.
Look at this fucking the grin on this motherfucker as he answers.
I'm sorry.
This is later.
I don't know a lot.
He can't answer a fucking question. He can't answer one.
I don't know a lot in this world, aside from all the shit I know that. But what I know for sure, that is a fucking lizard. That is a lizard. That is not an actual human being.
If I've
that
ever
is a
seen
goddamn.
That's what it is.
That is a lizard. That is a reptilian situation. He might have come from. He might have actually come from Urash. We're not sure.
Listen how much they're dodging it. This is unbelievable because it's been an entire week and they haven't answered any press questions. Any of them. They can't answer a single question. I want you to watch it. Like, do they answer a single question? Do they answer a question?
Just wanted to pin down some of the basics again on the exploding pages. I mean, is it still your position that you are not saying publicly who you believe carried out these attacks?
I don't have any comment on it at all.
And is there any reason that you wouldn't say what your assessment is of who carried these out?
I just don't have any comment on it at all.
Okay. 2 days ago, you said the US was not aware of this incident in advance.
This is such a clown fact.
Yeah, the statement I made on 2 days ago was absolutely accurate.
That you didn't know about the incident in advance?
Correct.
Okay, because there has been some reporting that there was a call from the Israelis to say that something was going to happen in Lebanon on Tuesday. Do you have any comment on that report?
The statement
There's that too. There's reports that they warned about.
Made on Tuesday was 100% accurate.
Okay, and just to follow up on the point about targeting and international humanitarian law, presumably the State Department is aware of the amended Protocol 2 of the Convention on Certain Conventional Weapons, which prohibits the use of booby traps or other devices in the form of harmless portable objects.
He said booby.
Is that something you're taking into account when you're assessing and gathering information on this?
So we take into account all of the relevant provisions of international humanitarian law when it assesses, when we assess incidents of this type and other incidents throughout this conflict. I don't pronounce judgment on those from this podium, but those are the types of things that we look at. Yes, absolutely.
And given, just to reiterate the point, thousands of explosions, 2 children killed. We've seen explosions in public places, in grocery stores, on the streets, healthcare workers among casualties. Does that feel to you like a targeted attack that falls within the remit of international humanitarian law?
So I'm not going to talk about feelings here. We deal in factual assessments of law. Those are the type of assessments that we conduct over time, where we gather information and make those assessments based on the facts, based on the law.
You don't have to be a fucking lawyer to find out that blowing up walkie-talkies in the middle of a civilian grocery store is a bad idea. That's a fucking
here's what
you don't have to be.
Here's what you get to
bring up this law. You don't have to, and it's not feelings. It's not feelings to blow up children. It's not. That's not what unfactual evidence like this. It's very clearly a war crime.
You would argue that it's the opposite of feelings because you got to be a fucking sociopath to be in this position. But this is what we get to look forward to when fucking Queen Cackles gets in office. And if Trump gets in office, it's going to be even shittier because instead of this weird gaslighting, you're going to probably have like Laura fucking Loomer up there looking like the Crypt Keeper, being like, "Yeah, well, they deserve that."
Laura Loomer's
like, this is the shitty part.
Yeah.
Next verse.
I think she's sleeping with them. I really think she is.
I don't know how anybody can fuck that creature.
I don't know. I think Trump could. I think Trump
is not
a narcissist. He could.
How do you fuck Jigsaw from Saw? I don't get it. How do you fuck Jigsaw? How do you fuck the Stone Troll from the Witcher series?
If there's
how do you do that?
If anything I could tell ladies, you just don't get cosmetic surgery. It makes everything so much worse.
If Laura Loomer showed up, my dick would invert. It would become.
I would grow a vagina. I would literally grow.
If Laura Loomer showed up, my body would give itself gender-affirming care. I would have to change my pronouns. If Laura Loomer ever touches me, I will have to become a they them, at the very least.
Blakely. No. For some reason, nobody in the State Department can find out this is a war crime or not. Apparently, you need to be a legal expert in order to find
ethically
that
speaking, as a military
this is just disgusting.
Is this a capability that falls within the ethical conduct of a war?
I'm not a lawyer. I'm not, again, going to do a spot analysis on something that we've seen.
You don't got to be a fucking lawyer, bro. You don't.
No, you really fucking don't. You just have to have like a brain and some eyes and the things on the side of your head that process the noise stuff. Jesus fucking Christ.
And from a
I'm not a lawyer. Like, what?
Like, if you want to get into that, like, really, like, it's incredible to me how we went through an entire week of press and, like, White House appearances, and we haven't gotten a single answer on this. We haven't had an official position on this. We don't know.
Okay, so
the U.S. still hasn't confirmed nor denied whether Israel is even responsible or not.
Okay, so guys, remember what I said a while back, which was the reason why all of the tactics of the empire, the capitalist empire that we're all fucking living under in the West, the reason why it feels so much like narcissistic abuse is because the types of people who get to the tippy top are narcissists and psychopaths. So the same tactics are going to be dispensed from on high. This is nothing more than the most pure form of gaslighting. This is also what I would like to call plausible narkability, which is
that's what the word I was looking for. Plausible what?
Well, it's technically plausible deniability. I call it plausible narkability because essentially what they do is
that makes sense.
Yeah, what they do is they essentially go, hey, you know what? Like, I'm not an expert, which means I'm like not right, but I'm also not wrong. I just kind of live in this gray area where like if shit hits the fan and I have to actually like admit this, like they always fucking do later. They always give up the game way later after it doesn't matter because they've done the deed. You know, we can be like, well, technically we didn't like say one way or another. It's always the same shit for these people. That's what, and look at his face. Look at his face. He's got the who farted face. If there's anything I know, it's that the who farted face only comes out when these motherfuckers are lying, which is why you always see the who farted face.
Guys, I may not be a geopolitical analyst. I may not be, you know, a public, like, you know, like a speaker. I may not be even, you know, a voice on this. But all I do know, whoever smelt it, dealt it. I do know that. And
That's great.
This is what's happening here.
Yep. He dealt it, and now he is smelling it.
He's smelling. This is a very clear case of who smelt it, dealt it.
Widely reported that Israel is responsible for this, but notably you still won't say that. Why is that? Is it because that's not your assessment, or because you don't support what they're doing here?
It's because I don't have anything more to add on this issue. As I said, there was no U.S. involvement, and I'm not going to go beyond that today.
Then let me ask this. These kinds of tactics, blowing up pagers and walkie-talkies, is this type of warfare acceptable to the United States?
Again, Mary, I appreciate the question. I'm simply not going to be able to address these incidents over the last couple of days in any level of detail one way or another.
Okay, let me try one other
That's
thing.
how you know it's Israel.
You can't answer anything.
That's how you know it's Israel. Because AIPAC would take away their fucking eyes wide shut rooms where they all go in and blow each other or whatever the fuck goes on in there. Probably with Laura Loomer, they're all transing themselves.
You saw the New York City COVID sex parties, right? The guy who got caught, where he was like talking about like having sex parties during COVID underneath Wall Street.
Well, yeah, but again, like we're at the point with that topic where if you're not paying attention by now, I don't know what to tell you.
You know, everyone keeps urging, you know, all parties involved not to escalate this. Isn't this an escalation already? I mean, isn't this Israel doing exactly what you've been warning them not to do?
Again, I'm not going to speak to the details of these incidents. I understand that's frustrating. I get it. And I understand where all your questions are coming from. They're all valid. They're all fair. I'm just not going to get into this. I will add, if I could, and restate a little bit to what I said to Gabe. We still don't want to see an escalation of any kind. We don't believe that the way to solve where we're at in this crisis is by additional military operations at all. We still believe that the best way to prevent escalation, to prevent another front from opening up in Lebanon, is through diplomacy, which is why Mr. Hochstein was over in the region this week. And we're still going to pursue those kinds of outcomes.
CBS News at least learned that the Defense Secretary, Lloyd Austin, spoke yesterday with the Israeli Defense Minister 2 different times. We've been told no specifics were given about the operation that happened yesterday. Was there any heads up given yesterday that there would be more attacks in Lebanon today?
Well, I'd refer you to the Defense Department to speak to conversations that the Secretary had with Minister
How do you both
Gallant.
sides of
As I
genocide?
said, there was no U.S. involvement in either of these incidents, and I have nothing.
One thing, though, but awareness it was coming is another.
I recognize the question. I have nothing more to add.
If you're someone who owns a pager like this that's been blown up in Lebanon in recent days, whether it was made by the Taiwanese company or the Hungarian company that may have had a license, should you be
They're
concerned?
just trying to
if it
get
blow
like
up?
anything they
I have
can.
nothing more to add on this.
I have nothing to add.
Nothing. Not
Just deny till you die. This is amazing. They're so fucking shameless, bro. They're so shameless.
Here's the
They're
real
so
one.
shameless.
The pagers Israel exploded were made by a Taiwanese company called Gold Apollo. They're reportedly imported 5 months ago in mid-April, and it lines up closely with the Knesset delegation visit to Taiwan, right back in April. So that's when they imported these pagers. Now, that directly contradicts with what American University is now denying. They're saying I showed you the one American University page.
Yeah,
American University denying it, but so they responded to this. So like they were going to change their paging system back in just a couple weeks ago, and that directly contradicts with with this here. If the pagers were imported back in April, this is an interesting thread. I mean, there's Hungarian connections, Bulgarian connections. Ultimately, none of the manufacturers were obviously aware of this. The idea, so the claim that's running around is that it wasn't a cyber attack, but they used lithium in the batteries to make like highly explosive pagers, which I don't believe. I think this is like a Mossad like line. They definitely have the capability of blowing up your phone whenever they want. If you don't think that they can do this, this is a test run for a lot of this is a test run.
Mm-hmm.
This attack was planned at least 5 to 7 months ago.
I just want to plant an idea in people's heads just for a second. Let's say for a second, we're in the future. You have everything tied to your mobile device. You got your identification, which is now digital. You've got your currency, which is now digital. You need your device to pay for anything, to identify yourself, all of this. You are tied to this device. Now that device can explode, and you know it can explode because shit like this has happened in the past. How compliant would you be? How willing would you be to, I don't know, post wrong speak on social media using that device? How compliant would you be to have a phone conversation, to complain about the actions of your government, or to expose the capitalist lies that we're subjected to? If you knew that device could blow up, if you knew the state could blow up your fucking phone at any point and you needed this device because of the parameters I just set before. This is scary. This is real fucking scary.
That's a good point to bring up because I did want to show this too. The fact that that Israel went through with this just changed the electronic communications industry forever. You understand that no one is going to buy. This is exactly it. No one is going to buy European communication devices anymore. No one's going to buy European pagers. They're going to buy it from China because they know they're not fucking bought out by the Zionist lobby. Listen to this.
I don't know about you, but if I was China right now, I would be literally going ballistic because they have an opportunity of a lifetime. They need to change their symbols on the way they make products by saying, instead of saying made in China, they need to made in China and shipped directly from China on every product they make and put it right on the fucking front. You know why? Because ain't nobody ever buying shit from Europe again. Why? Because a Mossad agent might put a freaking bomb in it. I don't trust anything from Europe anymore. That's what they did. And I would, if China don't freaking run with this and just be like made directly in China and shipped directly from China, no third parties. They should be balling right now, man. If you ain't buying from China, you out your damn mind with this freaking Mossad agents blowing up regular people's items.
Dude, he's got a really good point. If China runs with this, they might become a global superpower one day.
Well, they kind of already heading in that direction anyway.
But yeah, that was the joke. They're number one. They're officially number one.
China needs more money right now, but
I know.
I mean, granted, that's an interesting point to bring up because I don't think the manufacturers are pissed. They're pissed. A lot of them are suing. They're running their own investigation.
Which I sincerely believe that they don't want that smoke anymore. I think they've changed course.
まず本物だとは言えない。
Correct.
ロボット生産をする部分、手でする部分がありますけれども、その爆発物を仕込むようないわゆる時間がないですわ。その流れていってる速度からですね。早すぎてないです。
This is the full supply chain.
Hold on. What's that first comment? That is one reason
Read Marxist.
why the worker cooperative read Marxist success.
Oh, I switched to WeChat. See, other people are already saying it. Like, I would feel 100% more safe with like Chinese products. The European market is fucked.
I literally would though.
They're just letting them put fucking bombs in their pagers and just giving it to random people. Like, and you know what? Like, I don't like for maybe the tinfoil hat in me is kind of dingling a little too hard, but I don't think that they necessarily needed to put the bombs in there. I don't think they needed to. I think that's like a line that they're saying.
Well, that's an interesting point because if I were testing something like this, I wouldn't want to give the game away. I would be like, there's explosives. It's special phones. These phones don't have these capabilities. Don't believe that. We can't blow up your phone. And I wouldn't put anything past it. Because didn't we have? I remember. Someone correct me if I'm just having a Biden moment, but I remember a while back there was a problem with exploding phones. Right? Does anybody else remember that? It was a while ago. I know a million fucking things happen every minute now, so our brains are like filled with too much information. But I remember a while back there were some phones exploding. Hey, Stormy. You want to say hi?
I can show you some stuff too. But, the Pegasus software. So I mean, if you Whitney Webb talks a lot about. I mean, she's kind of the pioneer of this. But the Pegasus software was basically sometime in around the 90s, Israel basically just compromised our entire national security system. But they hacked us. More or less they stole data from us and software. The Pegasus spyware is very significant to Israeli intelligence. Whitney Webb talks about this a lot.
2012, there was a policy decision that was made. It was admitted publicly until relatively recently in 2019. But essentially what was decided by Netanyahu's office was that in order to ensure that Israel remains and advances its position as the world's dominant cyber power, this is what they have been hoping to achieve, that they would start conducting operations that were previously done in-house Israeli intelligence agencies and move them to private companies, which essentially then would act as fronts, for those intelligence operations with a specific focus on the high-tech sector and cybersecurity. And just other tech startups in general. And some of those private companies already existed and were sort of co-opted as intelligence fronts then, and some were made explicitly for that purpose. So in this article in Calculus Tech that admits a lot of this stuff, quoting Israeli military officials and things like that, they admit that Black Cube was essentially created to be a privatized Mossad. And there's a couple others that we can look at their history and what they've done since and see indications that there's several of these. And many of them are actually now embedded, or their software is used by classified installations in the US, like the Department of Defense, for example, or also used by major Silicon Valley companies.
A lot of Wall Street uses Pegasus in order to predict bets. But listen to this too.
A text message that installs spyware. Pegasus is a type of spyware that infects your phone from a text message. You don't have to click on anything. You don't even have to open it. And it steals messages, emails, call logs, GPS locations, you name it. It was first discovered in August of 2016, but it can still affect phones, new phones, because as phones upgrade and improve, so does malware. Fun fact for those still here, it was actually created by an Israeli cyber group. Have you heard of Pegasus? Does this make you want to be careful with who you give your phone number to? A text message that installs spyware.
That's where we're at, y'all.
This is Pandora's box. Pandora's box.
Yep, that was it. Thank you, Witchy. It was a Samsung Note 8. It was exploding when the charger was on for too long. So. This can't happen.
Beyond its devastating effects on Hezbollah, the attack signals the beginning of a new and very dangerous era in cyber warfare. Any device that is connected to the internet can be potentially transformed into a weapon. I like the comment from Christy here. We're gonna have Wi-Fi. We have Wi-Fi coffee pots and fridges. I always wondered why the hell we needed it for those things, and now I found out.
Yeah,
it's to fucking blow you up whenever they want.
Christian, don't mess.
Have you seen The Boys? You know that one, the lady that she can blow up people just by with her mind. She can blow up.
Yeah, she was supposed to be Kamala. I think, because Homelander was supposed to be Trump because they made that last
What's her name?
season.
Who's that guy from the boy? Who's that lady from The Boys?
The politician, right? The politician lady.
Yeah.
That gets like ripped apart at the end by the tentacles.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, spoilers, I guess.
No, I'm spoiling it. Fuck you. Kylo Ren kills his dad. There you go. What other spoilers do I got?
This would
misinformation that's important to someone. Starlight?
I think she's off the grid.
Fucking find her. This bipartisan committee is called to order. Investigating Vought International and its production and distribution of commerce.
And it'll come from someone.
Okay. Quiet, everybody. Quiet. Joining us today. Thank you. You have 5 minutes to make your opening statement.
This is what will happen. Graphic.
Today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. I do. Thank you. You have 5 minutes to make your opening statement.
And now I just want you guys to think. Hold on, I'm trying to find it here.
So that's what Israel can do. Now, Israel can.
And I was trying to find it, but I believe it was Rick who made a mention. I believe it was Rick who made a mention about Elon installing a Neuralink in your brain. So if you have an implant in your brain, which is what the prominent right wing fucker, Nick stated here too. You got a device in your brain, and they can just blow it up. This is what I mean when I talk about digital prison. Because here's the thing. The capitalist class isn't stupid. They have studied their enemy. And the enemy is us, the workers, the working class. They know that their window of control is shortening. Especially now with China and BRICS and all that. They know the window is closing. So the clamping down has to happen. Because revolution is in our lifetimes. And their end goal is to prevent that. That's why you're seeing all of this. That's why you're seeing Elon Musk and Donald Trump and all these other people suddenly embracing all these really scary, weird, technocratic initiatives. Because one way or another, regardless of what puppet gets in the office, and yes, they're fucking puppets. If you're voting for Trump, you're delusional. If you're voting for Kamala, you're delusional. With pronouns, I don't know. That's the difference between two parties, I guess. But this is what's on the pipeline. They want us to be in a complete digital prison that they can control. And that's because they don't want us to have any power. I covered this on the Maple Files. Go look up the episode on the World Economic Forum. I covered it in very, very great detail. But essentially, what they want is stakeholder capitalism, which is essentially a merging of corporations and state. Now, Greg, what is another term for merging of corporations and state?
That kind of sounds like fascism.
It is fascism, indeed. Capitalism sounds a lot more appealing to right-wingers. People get this mixed up because everybody thinks like, oh, they're trying to like bring a Marxism in, but they're calling it capitalism. No, they're calling it capitalism deliberately because stakeholder fascism or just fascism is not going to fucking hit. But for the majority of people, at least in the West, who are deluded into thinking capitalism is the best shot we have because Russia had a fucking drought a while ago or something, that's what they're going with. But that's what we're looking at. We are looking at technocratic fascism, where the corporations completely own the state. They already do, let's be real. But it's just not official. They want to make that shit official. So once you're in a complete digital prison, you're also going to feel like you asked for it, essentially. Anyway, let's
This is
go.
what your government thinks of you.
8-year-old and 11-year-old. Huh? Say self-defense what Israel did with the pagers and how the walkie-talkie? They killed an 8-year-old and 11-year-old. Huh?
She asked if we have our pagers on you. Why do you want them to explode? Is that what you're insinuating?
Yeah, are you threatening us? They killed an 8-year-old and 11-year-old yesterday.
I don't think murder and death is a laughing matter, ma'am.
Yeah.
You find it amusing, though, huh? Joking about my device is exploding and injuring or killing me.
I can tell you.
Wow.
Killed an 8-year-old and 11-year-old.
And the Zionists are having a heyday with it.
Boom, 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 and I'm here to say ayo, ayo. We have a name for this operation. Operation Below the Belt. Damn, we have the biggest ball. But are you left?
They're making fun of like the fact that like because you carry your pager in your pocket, like blows up your balls.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
you
it's
gotta
all-
laugh about it. You know, when you will get out of the hospital without fingers,
Yeah,
without
psychopath.
without the ability to see. It's very hard to eliminate you one by one. Boom, boom in the streets. While you're in shopping, maybe you should just stay at home. And his boom boom try not to explode.
Beep, beep.
Because this is what happened when
If I ever meet that guy in person, I'm going to beat him to death.
Dude, he's in New York.
That is my promise. That is my promise to everybody. If I ever meet that motherfucker in person, I'm going to beat him to fucking death in a
He's
video.
in New York. I mean, I mean, I've seen Rabbi Shmuley, but I couldn't get to him. He was like,
I would just piss on him. I would just piss on his leg. I'd just start pissing, you know?
This whole Ben Shapiro thing.
Here's the thing. Sorry, real quick. Guys, this is really important. What they're doing here isn't just mockery. That's not it. They're not just being like psychopathic and tasteless. This is a threat. This is a fucking threat. They are threatening us. That is the whole point of this. They are flexing and saying, hey, we got so much fucking power over you that
you can literally blow up your head at any moment.
If you try to stand up to us, we will blow your shit up. We will blow your computer up. We'll blow your phone up. Even if they can't do it, even if they're not at the level where they can blow up your iPhone.
I believe they can, and this is what. And pull this up real quick. Hope you're enjoying the news that your government can remotely detonate pagers. Just know that your smartphone has a lot more potential power than an old pager. Here's a video of an iPhone being induced.
Oh, fuck.
They can do that whenever. You could do that remotely. without putting any explosives in there, you can make the hardware explode. So just through
Yes, there are ways to do that. And let's be real, if they can access your phone via text message, like, guys, again, it's time to wake up. This is all coming down the pipeline. And the guy supporting Donald Trump for president is the guy who is fully on board with this, who, by the way, also is a fucking defense contractor, which I feel like people don't. I feel like conservatives just ignore that Elon Musk is a literal defense contractor. Like, that just goes over their head, and they think he's somehow anti-establishment, despite like being a billionaire. Yeah. Anyway, here's our favorite Shabibo. Here's Shabibo.
Cyber warfare is funny. Blowing up your phone is funny.
I understand there are people out there today who are upset if you laugh at this. You should be laughing at this. I will just say there is nothing immoral about laughing or chortling over terrorists who get their balls blown off. There's nothing immoral about that. Beyond that, there is something politically useful in laughing at terrorists, because the reality is what they deeply desire is fear and respect, and nothing undermines fear and respect more than laughter. Well, this incident deserves not only laughter, it deserves celebration in the West, because it turns out that when a Western power, which Israel certainly is, blows the balls off something like 2,800 terrorists in a simultaneous pager attack.
They're all yeah, of course they're all terrorists. Is Benny Shaft.
That's funny.
The children are terrorists for sure. I know a lot of child terrorists. I do. Babies are terrorists.
I know a lot of 8, 9, 10, 11-year-old terrorists.
And I'd like people to know, just keep in mind, okay, if you weren't aware, Ben Shapiro is literally affiliated with the IDF directly, as in he is an IDF fucking operative. You can look this up. It's confirmable. So this isn't just some dopey chud, okay? And yeah, he's probably you know what? I'm gonna say he's a pedo too. Just spread that around. Go nuts. Just go for it. Just say he's a pedophile. He's a pedophile, and he's into horses. I'm gonna add a bit onto that. Ben Shapiro is into horses.
He's a gay horse fucker. Benny Shapiro is a gay horse fucker.
I'm gonna do this. We're gonna do this. Ready? Let's fucking go. There it is too. Ben Shapiro is into horses. All right, we're good. Let's just, I'm just planting seeds. I'm hoping they take root.
Jesus Christ. So that's. These are some pretty strong allegations we're making right now. But
goats too.
I'm down for it.
He likes goats. The goats they're more uppity. He likes them uppity. And they're smaller, so they remind him more of the pedo thing.
Yeah, you know what? He's actually a necrophiliac too. He's a necrophilic. He's a necrophilic, pedophilic, gay horse fucker. I'm gonna make that definitive statement in a second.
Okay, hold on. We're gonna do it here. Okay. Oh, here we go. Ben Shapiro is into dead horses. There we go. Thank you. This guy's really base. We should have him on the show.
Oh, Rick? No, Rick's a good guy. So you ready to move on to AI? This is pretty recent. This is yesterday.
Yeah, let's go.
Actually, this one's today.
I'm torn because ChatGPT, like AI, can be super helpful, but under the capitalist hellhole we live under, it's almost certainly going to be used just to the detriment of anyone who isn't a billionaire. So, all right, there's no sound. There we go.
It's really fun.
When we're celebrating, oh man, it pains me to see people like kind of just like welcome this. So this is why, like, this is how they usher in the second Manifest Destiny, where you just have like giant transnational corporations dictating everything.
Yeah, and if you look at it, I shared a video where Whitney Webb talked about this.
It actually didn't even come out yet today. Apparently, there's hearing outside but the it's like 6 months out. The actual like AI,
yeah,
the Siri AI, but that's coming. That is coming.
And the thing is, all of these right-wing people who have the ear of all of the gun owners in America, they're the ones that are championing this. They're the ones who are cheering this on. The fourth industrial revolution. People think it's from the left or whatever, Democrats. Sure. It's coming from both sides, people. This is coming one way or another. And if you're not ready for it, if we're all not ready for it, then they're going to sleepwalk us right into a digital prison we will not be able to get out of. And that's the scary part. That's the part that should scare your balls off.
The AI features in this, I mean, so Whitney Webb talks about this. There's the authoritarian regime's plans, essentially, we're looking to dumb down the next generation as much as possible, make them as much reliant on their personal little AI assistant. It's so much Black Mirror shit.
Mm-hmm. Black Mirror was predicted program.
Siri, what's the name of the guy I had a meeting with a couple of months ago at Cafe Grinnell?
You met Zach Wingate at Cafe Grinnell.
Hey!
Zach!
Oh, wow, I didn't think you'd remember me.
Yeah, of course. As soon as I saw you, I'm like, it's Zach. Nobody walks like Zach.
This is that's like a Black Mirror episode. That's legit a Black Mirror episode.
Yeah, and the thing that you need to, like, okay, if you've used ChatGPT, I used it today for something. It was super helpful, right?
Yeah.
It can help a lot. You can just go to it and ask it to, like, do anything for you. Write me a song about this. I was talking about, like, hey, come up with some names for podcasts. Being politically homeless, but like matching song titles. It's very useful. But think about this. The more it programs you to rely essentially on a technological like extension to give you information, to do tasks for you, the more that happens, the more you're being trained to rely on these devices, the less you will have to have in your fucking head, and the less you will have to know about the world. If you get to the point where the only skill, and this might be on the horizon, if we get to the point where the only skill we have is working with these AI and technology hubs, we're cooked. Because then they really got you by the balls. Because if if you need that device in order to function, then they can just shut it off or blow it up or make you completely. It's all meant to make you completely reliant on systems they control, because they don't have to kick the door in and shoot you in the asshole 2 to 3 times, or 4 if you have a rash as bad as Greg's. But they don't have to do that. They don't have to bring out the jackboots. If all they need to do is take shit away, if they can just press a button.
Have you tried taking an iPad away from a 4-year-old?
Yeah,
it's impossible. It's impossible.
My sister's kids, and everyone I know my age now with kids, they all have the iPad, and they just have it. It's like a replacement for parenting now. They just have the iPad and they just do the shit on the iPad. But they're training them early because they're trying to get everybody locked in to these devices and completely dependent on these technological devices. And then, oops, I'm sorry. Did you say a bad word about the government on Twitter? I mean, I know this is tinfoil territory. Well, that's what we do here.
But we're already at a stage in the technocracy where we have like little children who like. I mean, I think at this point it's like a cultural norm, because like you know, even if you decide to raise your kid as, you know, like we'll keep them away from technology. We'll give them like an iPhone at like, I don't know, 12. That's like the earliest, I think. There's a lot of like brain development happening in those early stages, but kids are getting their parents are giving their you know, it's like you said, it's very common. And so one day, you know, your 6-year-old comes home and he's like, you know, I saw Jimmy on his iPad today, and I want one for Christmas. What are you gonna tell him? And you can't really explain to him these kind of things, because they're not. I don't think they like really have the capacity to like understand on like this level, like this kind of like third person kind of view, like how it's like bad for you in the long term.
Well, the move there is you got to tell the kids to tune into Politically Homeless. I think that's
make sure it's
on their iPad, so it kind of just
change the name. We're gonna change the name, I think, soon.
We are gonna change the name. It's gonna be the Pee Pee Poo Poo Show.
Pee Pee Poo Poo Show. Okay. This is what's coming next.
Product launch Monday, Apple unveiled a slate of new gadgets that feature artificial intelligence. The announcement included details about the new iPhone 16, which is expected to hit U.S. stores next month. Here's Danya Backus.
Artificial intelligence is at the core of Apple's new iPhone 16.
iPhone continues to make a profound impact on all of our lives. Apple Intelligence will supercharge these experiences and so many more.
The new Apple Intelligence suite of AI features will include capabilities like a smarter Siri and AI-powered writing tools. Users will also be able to create their own custom emojis. Apple is not alone in placing a growing emphasis on AI features. Smartphone makers Google and Samsung have also loaded their devices with AI capabilities, but a new CNET survey found consumers are not impressed.
We found that about a quarter of smartphone owners don't actually find AI features are helpful.
Abrar Al-Hidi is a technology reporter at CNET.
It sends a signal that companies haven't necessarily convinced people that this is something you need to have on your phone.
When it comes to upgrading cell phones, the survey found the main motivations for adult smartphone owners are longer battery life, more storage, and better camera features.
They just want to have a phone that lasts, that can store all their data and all their photos.
Which is literally getting worse and worse every year. And it gets more expensive per gigabyte, per how powerful the driver is.
5% of people say they are reluctant to pay for AI, and 34% are concerned about privacy.
Security and privacy are two of the main concerns when it comes to AI because it's not necessarily clear where this data is going or where it's being pulled from.
Apple insists users' information is kept private.
Your data is never stored or shared with Apple.
Yeah, you believe that?
Eat my ass.
It's you.
Nobody believes that.
Nobody believes this.
Only to fulfill your requests. And in a first for the industry, independent experts can continuously verify this privacy promise. This is an extraordinary step forward for privacy and AI.
But time will tell whether users are willing to take that step. Danya Backus, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Nobody is going to do that. Nobody's going to do that. That's insane. That I mean, if you're smart enough, I mean, but like this is kind of the direction we're looking towards on. Just gotta close a bunch of tabs.
How dare you?
But it's become kind of like impossible to like ignore at this point. ChatGPT is like now like a given. And listen, I'm not like against AI. I actually think so. I think AI can be useful for like the informational capacity of like, you know, like programming and like note taking and like information, like query searching, like, you know, whatever you're looking for.
It will be very useful. Listen, it will be very useful after the revolution.
Unless it tells you bad information, which it already does. And
yeah, it's dumb in that regard. Like, it'll give you misinformation, and then you'll be like, "Hey, is that correct?" And it'll be like, actually, no." And we're like, "Thanks, I guess." Don't get me started on the fingers. AI cannot figure out human fingers. I don't know why.
it's not good enough yet. So it's the generative AI that bothers me the most. Because the generative AI is kind of like where, you know, you can kind of like start to morph people's perceptions of reality, which is what the propaganda is.
Witchy, sorry, real quick. Witchy, I actually used AI to make the theme song for the Maple Files. So, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I did. I literally told the program, make something that's like the X-Files but Canadian, and it made like a cool, like haunting, like neat sort of thing. I forgot the website. I completely forgot it.
You forgot it?
Yeah, this is what having crippling ADHD does to you. Okay, that's enough.
I could argue in the developed countries, the big winners are countries that have shrinking populations. Okay, that's something that most people never talked about. You know, we always used to think shrinking population is a cause for negative growth. But in my conversations with the leadership of these large developed countries that have xenophobic immigration policies, they don't allow anybody to come in, shrinking unemployment, shrinking demographics, these countries will rapidly develop robotics and AI and technology. And if the promise, I didn't say it's going to happen, but if the promise of all that transforms productivity, which most of us think it will, we'll be able to elevate the standard of living of countries and the standard of living of individuals, even with shrinking populations. And so the paradigm of negative population growth is going to be changing. And the social problems that one will have in substituting humans for machines is going to be far easier in those countries that have declining populations. And so for those countries that have rising populations, the answer will be education, and so rapidly develop. You know, for those countries that do not have a foundation of rule of law or education, they're going to be left. That's where the divide's going to get more and more extreme. And unfortunately,
okay,
I could argue.
With the new iPhone 16 in such a saturated market, and what really separates this device from its rivals?
Well, first of all, Dan, thanks for having me. It's great to be here. So, I mean, it's interesting. You know, I was at the event today in Cupertino, and, you know, I have to say, I didn't feel like the energy was the same as I've seen in some of these previous Apple events. I mean, pretty much everybody knew what was coming, and what came was what everybody expected. And, you know, I mean, as Steve said in that segment there, you know, it's incremental improvements. And that's not enough, I think, to really drive a major super cycle, which some people had suggested was going to come. There was this hope or thought that new AI features being powered by this new phone would trigger a whole lot of sales, but it's a long process. And I talked to a lot of Apple executives as well, and they know that. They know this is going to take a long time. It's going to take a long time for everybody, not just Apple, to be clear. And the bottom line is, most of the stuff they have, other people may do it better. And of course, you may be able to do many of those things on existing iPhones. It's just that you're not going to do it on the device. So that's, you know, that's the difference here. To your competitive point, you know, in the markets where Apple is strong, like the US, many parts of Europe, and in China, I think they're going to do well. There are big questions in China, not only from Huawei, but also, frankly, from how many of these AI features Apple's going to be able to implement in China. So that becomes a big competitive question as well.
Who's AI?
You know, really fascinating insights there, particularly with regards to the vibe check in the room. You say the energy wasn't necessarily there. I think that's absolutely fascinating, because at the same time, the bulls like Dan Ives at Wedbush Securities, for example, say Apple Intelligence, this new launch, is going to be the launch pad for the consumer AI revolution globally. Look, the reality is, though, Apple Intelligence isn't ready. It looks like Apple is actually setting us up for another incremental upgrade cycle here. So what's your view on that? And will it drive the device replacement and upgrades that Apple seems to be pretty desperately seeking now?
It's a great question, Dan. So a couple things I will say. You know, as I said before, they are a little bit behind, but the important thing to remember, there are two big things to remember. Number one is Apple has a huge audience. So anything they do impacts more people than any other vendor, because there are so many people who are going to buy iPhones just because, hey, it's time to get an iPhone. That's number one. So that always influences their impact. The other thing is Apple does typically do a pretty good job of taking features that other people have and just making them a little bit easier and more intuitive. And I'll give you a good example today. So quite a few companies have summarization capabilities. The way Apple showed it, at least one example, was take your emails and your notifications and summarize them, so that instead of when you glance through your emails, you only see the first 2 lines of text and you can't tell what's going on. It will summarize the entire email in 2 lines of text. So you can quickly see, and then it will also prioritize those. So I think that was very cool. Now, to be honest, I think everybody's going to replicate that very quickly, because it is a good idea. But at least kind of Apple led the way here. And the question is, can they continue to do that and push AI forward to, in fact, becomes a launching pad?
What are you
But
doing?
again, it's going to take a while, as you said. So I don't see it happening overnight, or even for several months.
Past a small lobby, there are planes.
Sorry, I'm getting a bunch of texts. But
it's all good. I'm trying to prevent my cats from destroying all the fucking wires. Just say hi. Be cool. Be chill.
Just this very scientific dictatorship.
So I mean, I just want to highlight that Whitney Webb talks a lot about this upcoming second manifest destiny, the fourth industrial revolution. World Economic Forum talks about it.
But they're
it's
the good guys, right?
tried before. It's to build a new generation completely reliant on AI.
Shit that the Club of Rome people foretold and people like Patrick Wood have been warning about for so long. Like the Trilateral Commission, which was Rockefeller created, is one of the groups that has been pushing for this so long. And Keir Starmer is a member of that, right? I mean, these people are still everywhere. These agendas continue through these organizations. And I mean, they're crazy eugenicists that don't give a damn about regular people. So regular people have to give a damn about themselves and stop looking for these people to save them, because they're herding us into this vision that, you know, H.G. Wells and people like Eric Schmidt and Henry Kissinger have shared, of this idea of there's going to be an upper class and a lower class, and they're going to become different species, and us, the lower class, are going to become basically mentally retarded and eat bugs and become goblins that serve these like super elite that are enhanced
I love her so much.
Listen, if you're on the left, listen, if you're not on the left, if
you
you're
don't have to be.
like, no, but I'm saying, like, way too many people on the far left are sleeping on Whitney Webb. I swear to God, she's
they think she's a conspiracy theorist. That's why.
She's doing actual Marxian analysis, and she might not even realize she's doing that. Mentioning the upper and the lower class, but like, you're gonna be retarded and eat bugs.
Genetically and all of this stuff. I mean, it's Manager have shared of this idea of there's going to be an upper class and a lower class, and they're going to become different species, and us, the lower class, are going to become basically mentally retarded and eat bugs and become goblins that serve these like super elite that are enhanced genetically and all of this stuff. I mean, it's madness. And we have to keep in mind a lot of the stuff that's being framed as either mental enhancement, like the brain machine interface, or genetic enhancement. All of those things are dual use. You can enhance and you can diminish with all of those technologies. And almost all of those technologies have been heavily developed by groups like DARPA in the Pentagon in the United States and other militaries around the world, specifically for that reason, because not only are they enhancers, they can be used as weapons of war against people, targeting them on the genetic level and all of this. So we are literally, living in a society where maniacs are in the driver's seat, and we need to get out of the car immediately.
So I'm going to make a quick point here. I just want to mention this real quick. So the whole eating bugs thing. A lot of people look at this as a new thing. It actually isn't. The bourgeoisie, the upper class that she's referring to, which, by the way, it's kind of cute that she's talking about like an upper class and a lower class, even though like she's just describing capitalism. That's always how capitalism worked. The whole eating bugs thing. The bourgeoisie has been trying to do this since the beginning. Karl Marx referenced this directly. Think about back to the peasant days with gruel. Essentially, the game is, and you can look up how cost effective it is to essentially make bugs, farm bugs, make these cricket farms and shit. Essentially make a food source that is the closest to like no cost at all. That gives the wage slaves, the serfs, under single capitalism, we would essentially be serfs. Just enough nutrients to not drop over dead, so they can continue the labor and continue the work. That's all this eating the bugs thing is. There isn't some special thing past. It is an incredibly cheap form of protein and calories that people can eat, and they're gonna pretend it's about the environment. Again, I'll say this much. The second that all of these people pretending to care about the environment actually dismantles the military-industrial complex and actually gets the largest creators of emissions in the world over, which are the corporations, the second they rein those fuckers in, I will start to believe that this whole shit with bugs and paper straws is about climate change. But until they do that, until they tackle the main problem, I'm just going to pretend they're using a potential future crisis to their advantage. Why? Because they use every crisis to their advantage.
Yeah.
Think about
9/11.
9/11. Yep, right after 9/11, you lost a portion of your freedoms.
1
And they
million
were never
Iraqis.
given back to you.
1 million Iraqis.
Not just that. You lost some of your freedoms as Americans.
You
never got that shit back. Ever.
That's not coming back.
No.
And it's getting worse. They're signing in like Patriot Act 2.0s.
Yep.
I really
every
think
single crisis.
You know, Whitney's really onto something with this, and we're gonna read another article in the next segment and wrap things up after that. But
so let's step back and say, what is AI? Because if you look at what AI is, it translates into thousands, if not millions, of applications. So there's a very long tail in terms of what it is.
And didn't you see, like, as soon as ChatGPT came out, boom, you had like 130 competitors immediately. As soon as the technology came out, they just copied it.
But maybe if we could just define, for purposes of this.
There's Write Sonic, there's, it was Chat Sonic, there's Writer, there's so many other, it's kind of like embedded into like programs now, which is weird. Like they have Grok.
Conversation. What is AI? Mm-hmm. And if you call it the final coup, why do you call it the final coup?
Well, I call it the final coup because of the big push to put AI in charge of governance sooner rather than later. In terms of defining what AI is for the purpose of this conversation, I mean, obviously there's a lot of ways to define it. I would essentially say it's a technology that uses data and information it extracts from living creative beings and then imitates that. And is essentially an imitation of, I guess, us. And there's an attempt that is coming to convince people that this imitation is equivalent and superior to organic intelligence, meaning human intelligence. And that because of that, we should put it in charge of everything. A critical point that's made in this book that I found, even surprising from the soft disclosure standpoint, is that there's going to be two classes of people: the people that run and program and tweak the AI, and then the people that AI acts upon. Right. And this is essentially the techno-feudal paradigm that has come up in my work for years now, where these people that dominate AI and are needed to maintain and create and program it and alter it or meet its needs will be in one class, and they'll understand what AI is doing and have different privileges. And then the people that AI acts upon that don't understand what's happening and eventually will lose their ability to understand what's happening. That's right, essentially what's laid out there.
If you look at the people that AI is acting upon, it's basically an extraction tool. So it's extracting data, it's extracting value, it's using that information to take more, out of the fee flow, out of the, the financial extraction exchange. And it's basically, making one portion wealthier while it's destroying the wealth of the others. And so you see this, it's like a mining operation. Yeah. And once once it's mined what it can mine, then the people that it's mined become expendable, and out they go.
Yeah.
And
money,
so
power, and data is being harvested from this what is going to become this massive underclass, and it's happening. It's happening very quickly. It's really only escalating. And the people getting all of that power and money are the technocratic elite, which is the national security state Silicon Valley blob, the people that run that.
Right. And they run
at the same time, key people in that blob like Elon Musk are being held up to us as heroes and people that we should look to and, let them run the world because they're so smart. He's like Tony Stark from Iron Man. Just put him in charge of everything, I mean, that's essentially the setup here.
So I just want to
Elon
point out
Musk
one
is
thing.
fucking
Normally, when a
retarded.
company starts and grows, it
Sorry.
grows because it serves the customer, and its economics and its management revolve around being economically relevant to that customer. And it's important to understand that big tech didn't grow up around the consumer. It grew up around the customer was the intelligence agencies and the military, and the money was a tsunami of money that didn't require economic performance. It just required, in other words, they're being paid to build a control machinery, a surveillance and control machinery, and money is no object, and it doesn't have to be economically relevant to the consumer, because the consumer is not really the consumer. The consumer is the prey.
The consumer is the prey.
I love how they're just describing capitalism. Man, someone should have written a book about this like a long time ago. It would have helped us a lot. Damn. Oh well. But yeah. That's where we're at. Everybody.
That's where we're going. That's
and the important point she puts out there. And if you follow Whitney Webb on Twitter, you'll see this in her comments, because she does like call out.
She's so stark.
A lot. She calls out a lot of the things that the right wing apparatus are kind of like concerned about too. But they're brainwashed into thinking like Elon Musk, Donald Trump, all these like weirdly shaped. I noticed all the hero figures are shaped like various like furniture that you'd find in your house. I don't know why. I don't know why that's a thing, but they're just shaped like furniture. Like the right wing apparatus that's concerned about these things are brainwashed. It's a brilliant psyop. They're brainwashed into thinking that these people, if we get them in charge, it's going to be okay. Then all of this technocracy, all of this dystopia will go away because your guy, your hero, is in charge. It's a brilliant psyop.
Gen Z kind of gives me hope in the kind of like pushing back against like the authoritarian agenda, but Generation Alpha is what worries me the most, because those are the real iPad babies.
Yeah.
And come 50 years from now, like God knows like what's going to happen. Come in 6 months, when your own personal AI assistant in the palm of your hands. It was already bad enough when they put the entire world in your hands. You had the entire world of like information in your hands. Now it's a matter of just like speaking to it.
I'll say this much about Gen Z. I have never seen a generation so effective at dismantling like capitalist propaganda. Because first off, like half of them are fucking commies, which is beautiful. Love it. But again, they also have to deal with the boomers and then the Gen Xers and the millennials who are. I feel like millennials are mostly liberals. Gen Xers are mostly like conservatives. But I do have a bit of hope. Now the question about the next generation is, are they going to take enough cues from Gen Z and kind of reject this and see it for what it is? That's the big question. And it could go one way or another, right? So.
There's one last thing I wanted to share. Here's Donald Trump
Yeah.
recently, 3 weeks ago, on AI.
That China's producing a new power plant every week. How are we going to, if you get in, he's also said that the race for AI, whoever achieves that will achieve global domination.
Big deal, yeah.
How are we going to compete with China in the artificial intelligence space if we don't up our energy production?
If somebody like this Marxist gets in, I really don't believe it can happen. When she's exposed, I can't imagine. But if that happens, we're not going to be able to compete with anything. Oil, gas. You know, we were energy independent with me, first time in ever. And we're soon going to be energy.
We're going to need double the energy by 2025.
Not going to be able to believe it can happen. When Marxist gets in, I really don't believe it can happen. When she's exposed, I can't imagine. But if that happens,
We're
we're not going
literally
to be able to compete
idiocracy.
with it.
I know.
I think we've actually surpassed it at this point. Marxist Kamala Harris. We're there, guys. We're there. Liberals are now Marxists.
Anything.
That's where we're at.
That's how far. That's literally where the political spectrum is. That's like how far the line.
Overton window, yeah. This is Overton window management. So, like, here's where we're at, guys. You got two parties. They're virtually identical policy-wise, to the point where one party can borrow policies from the other party, right? But because we're so fucking cooked, we are so far to the right, liberals are now Marxists. They are the furthest left you can go is not even left. It's just right and not even center. And that's a Marxist. And then just a Republican. I don't even know what to categorize Trump, because my theory is him being a narcissist, he'll be whatever gets him the most applause. If he thinks he could get like the biggest standing ovation by being being far left, he'd show up in a Che shirt like the next day. I don't think he actually has any like original thoughts of his own. I don't think he ever has. But like a Republican is a fascist. So like you got these two parties that are virtually identical, but they're communist or fascist because that's how they're trying to play this. If you step outside of this political window, you are in the outgroup. You're just considered like crazy and insane and conspiracy theorist or like a terrorist or radical or blah blah blah. But that's where we're at. So
gas. You know, we were energy independent with me, first time in ever.
I love
and
the
we were soon going to be
That's not true at all. But
energy dominant. We have more oil and gas. I call it.
What he's saying about energy, like being about like China, like overtaking the energy industry, like it's going to be gas is going to get very, very expensive. If you think gas is going to change under Trump, you're fooling yourself. Gas prices are not.
No, but here's the beauty. Here's the brilliance about how they've propagandized people, though. I've noticed this with Trump supporters, and it's the same for the blue MAGA idiots. They're just like they're slightly better pretending they're not racist. That's the only difference between these two factions. Here's the thing with the Trump supporters. Okay, here's how fucking psyop we become. Whatever he does in office, they have a cope for it. So if gas does get more expensive, they'll say like, oh, well, that's not his fault. That's the deep state. That's Democrats. That's other countries. That's immigrants. They always have a cope for anything negative applied to Trump. It's so fucking brilliant. They have brainwashed these people into like defending the person causing their problems. Same thing with Biden and the liberals. He's the guy who's fucking everything up, and they have like these magical copes. Because we saw, like, example, he got in office for 4 years, and he didn't drain the swamp, and he didn't really do pretty much anything he promised he would do. But if you talk to a Trump supporter about it, they'll be like, well, the people in his cabinet, they betrayed him and they like gave him the wrong information. And also, like, the
He
deep
says that
state
today.
was like, doing all these things behind the scenes to sabotage him. And like they always have these copes. And the thing is, when you push back and say, okay, well, then why do you trust him to drain the swamp if he's so like vulnerable to all these other outside forces? And that's when they block you, which is what happened today, actually.
Just some random.
I got equals. Listen, guys, I got equal smoke for both sides of this fake bullshit. I'm an actual Marxist. I don't fuck around.
I'm an
You're
equal
all getting
opportunity
shit.
hater.
I'm taking a dump.
I'm an equal opportunity hater of all politicians.
Yes, they all get the wall in a video game. Blues and Reds always blame someone else for their failures. Yeah,
Liquid gold under our feet than any other country, more than Saudi Arabia. We have more than any other country, more than Russia. We were going to be energy dominant, but we were already energy. We didn't need anybody's energy. We didn't need our ships going through areas near the Arabic world where the ships get blown out of the water. We didn't need anything from anybody.
Areas,
we're energy independent. Nobody can believe it.
Areas near the Arabic world. A presidential candidate just
blowing up the Mediterranean, like, whatever. Not the Mediterranean, but
why can't he just talk normal?
Because he's a fucking
just say
idiot.
the thing. Just say the shit, man. There's no person on earth who has been in more need. People make fun of Biden for a teleprompter. This fucker needs a teleprompter because when he goes off cue, he gets weird and vague with it and starts making up shit like the Arabic world. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? I love this.
We're going to be energy dominant. Think of it. But AI is important and other things are important. But AI, do you know that for AI, you will need more energy, electricity. What they need is electricity. That specific word. You will need more electricity than we have right now for everything. See this strip behind us, and this big building. Add it all up, everything in the United States. You'll need double the energy that we produce right now, just for that one industry. If we're going to be the big player and dominant,
it's already embedded into a lot of our like software systems. It's already being used, and they had this technology for a long time. I really don't think that ChatGPT just came out and that was like the first time they've obviously had this for a while. But it's about ushering in the new era of AI like slowly to the population, so they don't get too scared.
If we're not going to be the big player, then China's going to take over that industry very easily. And the problem,
but think about it like in terms of like building infrastructure, like what he's talking about, like with buildings, mathematical, but like.
So we have to produce massive electricity that we don't have, but the environmental impact statements won't allow us to do that. The rules and regulations that we currently have won't allow us to do any of it, not even a tiny fraction of it. But if I'm president, we'll be able to do it. And we'll do it through natural gas, which is clean, and we'll do it through primarily natural gas and nuclear. Nuclear now has become very good, very safe, and you build the smaller plants and you attach them. But nuclear is very powerful, very good. The wind doesn't work. It's very expensive, kills the birds, destroys everything around it. It's very, 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 very bad. It's the most expensive energy, wind. And then every 9 years, you have to replace the turbines. They're made out of steel and they wear out. But we will create tremendous electricity for our country, and that will allow AI to compete. And you're right. Whoever gets that, it's going to be a big advantage. That's going to be sort of the oil of the future. and we have to be the main player.
Would you?
The oil of the future.
I do agree with them on nuclear.
AI
I do agree
is
with
the
them on
oil
nuclear.
listen to what he said there. AI is the oil of the future.
Mm-hmm.
Because of how much energy it takes to produce these AI systems, they run on giant servers. They have giant server banks in order to have these things. The informational capacity it takes to run an AI, it's not like it's instant. Even ChatGPT has to load it up and then write it out. But there is computational software that takes more energy than the traditional program. But we're already pissing off Russia and China, who happen to be the two biggest giant oil exports in the world. And so I don't know where he plans to get this oil.
Here's the thing. My theory is that, just theory, I think Trump's kind of like the world's biggest useful idiot. He's obviously in bed with all these people, that's obvious. But I think on some level, like, he kind of doesn't understand this shit. And he just kind of, like, people kind of know that too. They can just, like, download information into his brain and he'll just, like, regurgitate it on some level. The whole eating the dogs thing, I'm sorry. Like, I'm pretty sure Laura Loomer just whispered that schizo shit into his brain, and he's just like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna," like it just sat there.
Eating the dogs, eat the dogs.
And then like when Kamala like made fun of his rallies, he had like a narcissistic meltdown. Sorry, I'm putting on my elections aren't totally fake and staged out for a second. When Kamala like made fun of his rallies, he had like a narcissistic meltdown. And it got to the point where he's just like, "Oh wait, yeah, that eating the dogs, they're eating the dog," and it's fucked. Like, I don't know. But here's the thing, guys. Even though it seems like Trump's trying to lose, I'm just gonna say it. It seems like he's just trying to fucking lose at this point. I don't know any other way to look at this. He's had a million opportunities to land a W. Kamala Harris is the most easily criticizable blob, like vacuous blob on the planet, and he somehow like let her just fucking. I'm sorry, I hate Kamala Harris, but she fucking wrecked his ass in that debate. She cooked his ass, and this is someone who magically went from being like a babbling crazy word salad person to like a Muhammad Ali debater, like overnight apparently. And again, that's a point against like any of this being like real and not just stupid and fake. But like, come on, if he wanted to, he could do better than this. This is like two people fighting over like who gets left with the bag. It's like I don't want to do this. It's gonna suck.
What's coming is not. I don't think it's gonna be too fun.
I just don't think anybody wants to like. Why would you rule over that? Because what's coming is going to be shit. Hell yeah, we run on diabetes.
So do you want to pull up the Trump Bitcoin thing, or like what was your what were you saying on that? There's a commercial for it too. Are there videos in the article?
We're already coming up on 2 hours, and it's a really long article.
Yeah, do you want to just, I don't know if you want to just skip it or what?
Maybe I'll just TLDR it. Here, I'll share my screen. So this is a really important article that I feel like a lot of people should look at. I'm just gonna switch it to there. So this is on WikiWeb's Unlimited Hangout site. Trump embraces the Bitcoin dollar stablecoins to entrench U.S. financial hegemony. Trump's recent speech on Bitcoin and crypto embraced policies that will seek to mold Bitcoin into an enabler of irresponsible fiscal policy and will employ programmable, surveillable stablecoins to expand and entrench dollar dominance. So there's a lot to this article. Huh?
No, I'm just checking the co-author on that. Never mind.
Yeah. But I definitely recommend everybody to give this a read. I'm going to read the conclusion, just kind of riff about it a bit.
The orange-pilled orange man.
Yeah. Just because if I read this, it's going to take an hour. Everyone's going to fall asleep, myself included.
Yeah, I mean, everyone already does this, so I mean.
Yeah. With President Biden pulling out of the race, a Trump victory in November seems more plausible than not. Possibly not true at this point. I maintain that they're running an A/B test. Trump is likely to be just as pro-Bitcoin as he espoused on Saturday, but only in the sense that he will support Bitcoin policies that support the Bitcoin ambitions of his private banker friends, such as Larry Fink, who has frequently stated since his about-face on the issue that Bitcoin is a technology for asset storage, nothing more. The strategy recently laid out by Trump envisions a regulatory environment that would prevent a person from becoming Bitcoin only as Bitcoin, the US dollar, and dollar stablecoins come together to form a financial system that will please both the US military industrial complex and Wall Street in equal measure. In addition, given that Trump's previous fiscal policy involved allowing BlackRock to essentially design and implement a premeditated plan for mass theft of the wealth of regular Americans, it is fair to assume that the risk of Trump's promised regulatory framework enabling the same is considerable. The government lockdowns in 2020 crushed economic demand while the Fed, Treasury, and their private partners like BlackRock used emergency resolutions to create trillions of dollars to purchase assets for pennies on the dollar. Now that economic activity has been allowed to resume, the same actors plan to hyperinflate the dollar into those assets acquired during COVID, likely enabling yet another massive wealth transfer once the next downturn makes itself known. With Saturday's speech, it seems our likely next president intends to formally ring in a new financial system upon its commencement by delivering on his now articulated promise to make America and the dollar great again with Bitcoin and private sector stablecoins. Bitcoin is undoubtedly a financial revolution. It just may not be the one you signed up for. So, a couple thoughts here. First and foremost, I'd like people to kind of wrap their heads
at the Bitcoin bar
around
yesterday in New York City.
Yeah. No, he's showing very hard. And don't forget, guys.
At the Bitcoin conference, like this is like a new talk. This is like a talking point for him. I mean, Silicon Valley. I mean, he's JD Vance is all connected.
Yeah.
It's all Peter Thiel. The U.S. elections have basically come down to like which billionaire faction are you a bigger fan of?
And spoiler alert, both billionaire factions are actually in bed, and they're part of the greater coalition of the largest amalgamation and alliance of billionaire power, which is the World Economic Forum. That's what conservatives should be worried about. It's the fact that the bourgeoisie have a fucking club that they all work together on. But I will say also, in addition to him talking, about Bitcoin here, he also, don't forget, remember that Spaces Spaces on Twitter. He started by basically giving a fucking Bitcoin ad. So let's recap. The savior The anti-establishment savior. Let's recap. Very pro-Bitcoin, pro-digital currency in general, pro-digital ID, because that's where all the fucking border rhetoric comes from. That's going somewhere. No one's gonna... You can't just do a South Park episode. You can't just be like, oh, immigrants are the reason why you're poor. You can't just fucking do that. It's going somewhere. It's not just going, I'm going to deport everybody, because first off, that's fucking brain dead. Because of course, no political party is going to deport cheap labor. They fucking love immigrants. What they want is the fear of them, so they can get to the finish line, and the finish line is digital ID. Digital currency, digital ID. That's what he's looking at. And look at all this shit. Like, look at, why does Trump there you go. Crap pulls it himself. What does Trump suddenly love Bitcoin?
The world out there. I think they should regulate them very, very high.
We will make America and Bitcoin bigger.
The Bitcoins of the world, by the way. That's such a grandpa sort of.
We already have a video out on this on the channel, but you know, this is really, well, I made this shortly after.
World should be the dollar, and I don't think we should have all of.
But you know, Trump did famously call Bitcoin a scam.
The currency of this world should be the dollar, and I don't think we should have all of the Bitcoins of the world out there. I think they should regulate them very, very high.
We will make America and Bitcoin bigger, better, stronger, richer, freer, and greater than ever before. Bitcoin is not threatening the dollar. The behavior of the current U.S. government is really threatening the dollar.
I don't like it because it's another currency competing against the dollar. Essentially, it's a currency competing against the dollar. I want the dollar to be the currency of the world.
The policy of my administration, United States of America, to keep 100% of all the Bitcoin the U.S. government currently holds or acquires into the future. We'll keep 100%. I hope you do well, please. This will serve in effect as the core of the strategic national Bitcoin stockpile.
Bitcoin, it just seems like a scam.
I will say, though, he said that before. He said that before a major event that would be valid to change position on. Who can tell me what major event he said that before? De-dollarization.
Too.
Wait, he called it. Wait, what is this?
No, he was sitting in front of a Pepe poster.
Oh no.
Yeah. At the Bitcoin bar.
He's the meme president.
He's literally the meme. No, that's how he won the presidency in 2016.
Yeah, they literally did meme him into the White House. It's kind of unhinged.
He was memed into the White House. That's literally what happened. And if that's like that, the reason why I don't see him winning this time is because like that crowd is not around anymore. They're just not here.
He doesn't have that riz. That's the problem. He doesn't. So there's a couple factors here. First off, people need to remember in 2016. He was an outsider running on Drain the Swamp. I'm gonna fix everything. And he wasn't a career politician. He was this like weird billionaire who had a game show. Like people, and he was talking about like, yeah, like I'm rich. Like I know the game. I know how the game's played, and I want to fix the game. Which first off is a testament to America's stupidity, because the first question you should be asking is, why the fuck would he ever do something that would go directly against his interests? That should have been the first clue, but everybody was so fed up with the establishment, nobody Nobody came to that thought. They were just like, and it was also like a protest vote because people were so fed up with 8 years of Obama and the establishment and the wars and all the other garbage that they were like, you know what? Fuck Hillary Clinton. This is a protest vote. I'm voting for the weird orange thing, and I hope he burns the fucking system down. It was literally a revolutionary sort of fervor. He can't do that now. He got into office for 4 years, worked with the deep state, did tons of warmongering shit, despite all the propaganda that his idiots, his little turds spew out.
It's a big
He doesn't have that anymore. He can't run on that play because they're like, well, he was already president, and you know, he didn't really bring about anything. It was just memes. It was just vibes. So, I mean, now it's just kind of a battle over like, okay, what reactionary decision do you want to go with here? And there's him, who, I'm sorry, to normal voters, he's coming off as just like a fucking crazy person. Not the terminally online people. The people he needs as voters are just normal people.
That's the problem.
And all they're seeing is him being a fucking psycho.
Yeah, it's crazy. He's throwing it, dude. He's throwing it.
All normal people.
You know how many people I know? I can name 3 people who were supporting Bernie and they voted for Trump. That I know.
Yeah. Yeah, because it was a revolutionary.
Like he was at least convincing. Like he's like the problem is that like I feel like he's not even trying. He could like whoever's managing him is it's awful. It's terrible shit.
I don't think it's just that though, because don't forget. Even if he doesn't win the presidency, his base is still gonna fucking listen to him. So, and I've seen politicians kind of do this before, where when they're out of office, and you're seeing it right now with Kamala Harris. Look at how many of her, on paper, ideological enemies, her opponents, are now supporting her full-throated. Dick Cheney, for one. Like, what the fuck? It wouldn't surprise me if he loses this election and all of a sudden he's very supportive of all the totalitarian digital initiatives that Kamala Harris is coming out with. Because the second he's no longer in the game, he's just back to, reinforcing things into his base. So, I mean, yeah.
They're all
and
friends.
you can't say this. They are, and you can look up pictures. That's the thing. You can type in Trump Clinton's golf. You can see recent pictures of them just golfing with the Clintons. They're all fucking friends, guys. Go back to Carlin every time. It's a big club, and we're not in it. These people aren't enemies. They probably get drinks together. Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton have probably had sex. Donald Trump and Bill Clinton have also probably had sex.
Probably like an orgy, yeah.
It was probably a double sort of situation.
Eyes Wide Shut was a documentary. I really think they do have the weird sex parties.
Definitely, for sure. Listen. The way the capitalist system has organized all of this, you have a bunch of narcissistic psychopaths at the top, and they're all kind of just running cover for one another. You guys honestly think the way the American judicial system is fucking rigged, and the way the capitalist class can manipulate it, you honestly think if they wanted Trump in jail, they couldn't have just thrown him in jail by now? No, they did a bunch of show trials. He got a slap on the wrist. He didn't lose anything from it. Same thing with Alex Jones, by the way, for the like super $1 trillion that he owes. He's still doing shows. He's still fine. Nothing ever happens to these people because they have the class solidarity that we need. They're all buds. Until we drag them out of their ivory towers and take the fucking power back from these bloated dad blasters. They're just gonna still do this like goofy pro wrestling shit. Where Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton pretend they're enemies and then they go to a fucking dinner party together.
Kamala's basically already like Hillary Clinton 2.0. She's already like made herself out to be that.
She essentially is that, but the game. Here's the thing: the difference I see is like the game didn't seem tilted in Hillary's favor. There wasn't an energy of like, okay, we're pushing you in this direction.
Everyone hated her.
Yeah, like everybody felt like, this is weird. I don't like, and even like the corporate press was kind of like, yeah, we'll see. It wasn't this like concerted, like, nope, Kamala's the pick, go with Kamala. And you see all the whole, like, even the independent media space, all the progressive and leftists are all like, yeah, Kamala, we're going in this direction. And like, it's a concerted thing. That wasn't a thing with Hillary. And you know, like, not for nothing, but like Trump kind of came off as like the Giga Chad in the Clinton debate. And then Biden's brain melts in this debate. And then he has a debate with Kamala and just gets fucked in the ass on live television.
Yeah, like it was such a. I mean, the Biden one was such a pass. It's like he's literally like a demented brain rot. Like he's a demented brain soup, like of a person. He's not even real. I don't even think that was a real Joe Biden.
He's just melting down, and there's a point where Trump like looks at him, and it's literally like a legitimate like, oh shit, is he good? Do we need like a person to come in? Just because Biden's like, we finally beat Benedict, and then half the time his face.
He was literally just looking at him like or is he gonna shit his pants or what?
Like, I feel like at one point it must have gone through his brain like, is this motherfucker gonna die? Am I gonna watch this guy die?
He's going to
die on stage. He's going to die on stage. I'm going to witness a death, and I just wanted to go to Epstein Island again. Now I'm stuck up here doing this stupid bullshit because the Mossad has dirt on me, and now I got to play this shit out. I went too rabbit hole with that one, but that's a whole other conversation we can have in a future episode about just how far deep the Mossad goes with blackmailing people. There is a reason beyond just getting paid by AIPAC that you see all of these people in this weird, like, I have to die on the hill of Israel doing a genocide. There's more to it than just like AIPAC money. A lot more. But we'll get into that in a future episode, hopefully.
Yeah, I'm getting really tired. It's already 1 a.m. So.
Yeah, I got to drink some piss and go to bed.
Yep, that was a good run hour. I do want to focus a little bit more on tech stuff.
Yeah.
Just because like
it's interesting, and I'm a nerd, so I'm all for it.
Not even just like tech, but like I guess like focusing on like this digital like manifest destiny that's like upcoming in the next decade. It's gonna be interesting to see. I don't know exactly what's gonna happen. I'm still not even like completely sure if I want kids yet or anything like that.
Yeah, I haven't like I'm constantly like I'm married, right? I'm constantly having the debate in my head as to like whether or not it would be like an immoral act to bring another life into the world at this point. I know there's always the copes of like, well, I'll program them to be, I'll just raise them super right and they'll be part of the hope and change hopey, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, what if you lose? Then you created another life that's going to have to deal with the horrors of the future. So that's an ongoing debate in my head. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm not like I don't buy into like the whole like anti like natalism like philosophy, I guess, but either way. Do I have two of these? Damn. I have two of the same wire. Okay. I didn't know that. Discovered something new tonight. Well, thanks everyone for checking us out. Everyone who viewed this, check us out tonight. We're gonna maybe try to switch up the schedule. I'm not sure, but I think Angel might be doing like a gaming stream tomorrow. I'm not sure. If you can, I do want to shout out to Shonda. I'm gonna put the link in the chat here. She's struggling with like small cell lung cancer. It's really tragic, and I'm not do whatever you can. There's a stream tomorrow, noon to 4, some fundraiser stream. So yeah, thanks everyone for checking us out. Yep, it's a late night. Oh, sorry for missing last night, but have a good night, y'all.
Have a good night, and keep on keeping on, and
stay homeless, bro.
Thoughts and prayers to Big Bad Crab that this
thoughts and prayers for the rash. The rash is gone. It's healed.
Yeah, it hasn't though. He needs. We might do a GoFundMe.
I take medication for it. That's why.
Right.
Okay.
Well, thanks, guys.
Good night.
Have a good one. And use protection always, because